Hi Krista, so I said that I would put together a little class for you. I'm not sure how long it's going to take. All I'm going to do is start off by giving you a basic introduction because we haven't done any yoga together. So just to give you an explanation of how I like to work with the breathing. And then I'm going to go through a couple of moves that will help you to ease the discomfort in your back, the tension that you're feeling around your lower belly, and just kind of ease those discomforts that you said that you're having when you wake up in the morning feeling really sort of achy and struggling to sleep at night. Okay, so that's what we're going to do this morning. As I said, to start off with, I just want to give you an indication of how I work in terms of the breathing. So for me, breathing is a really, really important part of your practice, and I like to synchronize the movements with the breath. The type of breathing that I use is the one that's in my app, which is belly breathing. So when you're breathing in, you are inhaling through the nose and expanding, allowing the breath to expand the chest and then to fill the belly. When you breathe out, you're drawing the belly back in towards the spine and ideally breathing out with an open mouth and sighing that breath out. So you want to audibly hear the breath throughout. Okay, the in breath is generally going to be 2 seconds and the out breath is 4 seconds. So it's a really, really slow breath. And if I is synchronizing with the movements, then with the in breath, you're going to be lifting the arms, with the out breath, exhaling and bringing down. In breath, moving forward, exhaling, moving back, whatever. So just be mindful of that and try and use the breath. Okay, so it's going to be a fairly sort of slow, stretchy practice. Don't let that put you off, because I will do more classes with you where I will do stuff that's a little bit more challenging. But I just want to ease you into things, and don't forget that you're under the influence of that relaxin, which already softens everything, which is exactly why you're feeling so achy. So we don't want to do too much. All you want to do is stretch, release, and draw oxygen into those muscles. Okay. So get yourself sitting comfortably. Become aware of your posture. I use a cushion just to tip my pelvis forward slightly, lengthen through the spine, and just take a few moments. You can close your eyes here. I'm not going to do anything, so just listening to me, and start off by bringing the awareness to the breath with a slow in breath of 2 seconds and a very slow out breath of 4 seconds. So and again. And try and continue to breathe through like that, and then just listen to the instructions and just be guided along with me. But continue the breathing, and as you're breathing, I want you to bring your awareness to your body and just noticing how that you're feeling today. Just connecting with the energy of your babies, trying to imagine them in your womb. You've got quite a clear picture of how they're sitting from the last scan that you had. So as you breathe and you fill the belly, it's almost like you're breathing love into your belly. And just noticing how they're responding to the loving attention you're placing onto them, and that lovely, slow, mindful breathing. And this is just such a beautiful time, and indulge in being completely pregnant, completely aware of what's happening in your body. So before we even start the practice, just spending a few moments quietly breathing, quietly connecting. And as you do, you'll notice that there's areas of tension and discomfort in your body. So just mentally scanning your body as you quietly breathe in awareness. And start practicing directing your breath to those areas of tension and discomfort. So wherever you're feeling it, with your next in-breath, breathe into that area. And when you breathe out, just imagine releasing and letting go. Breathing it out, breathing any tension away from those muscles. And allowing the out breath to be your release breath, just really letting go. Every out breath, taking away, releasing, breathing away the tension, breathing away the discomfort, or just becoming aware of it and moving with it. So your next out breath, allow the chin to drop to the chest and become aware of the length of the spine from the base of your coccyx all the way to the top of the head, and allow the top of the head, the crown of the head, imagine that it's dropping down towards the earth, feeling the weight of the head, just gently stretching out the spine, the shoulders, allowing it to hang loose and heavy, but at the same time directing your attention inwards towards your babies, towards your heart, towards the beautiful connection between your heart and your babies. The next in-breath, lengthen through the spine. And with your out-breath, just start gently rolling the head from side to side and releasing any tension. We carry a lot of tension in the neck and the shoulders. So it's a good place to start, just letting go of any of that tension that you might be holding there. Or even a sense of responsibility. Just for the duration of the practice, allow all those responsibilities to roll off the shoulders, nudge them off with the rolling, and let them roll right out the room. Just letting the tension go. Feeling the release in the neck. Continuing with that slow, steady breathing. Just finding your own pace, your own rhythm. Taking the head round in full circles if it feels good, or just continue to go from side to side. But just releasing that tension. And then you can bring the head back to the neutral position and just move the awareness down to the shoulders and do a few rounds just to release tension in the shoulders. Big breath in, releasing, isolate the shoulder joints, roll them right up to the ears, right back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then taking it the other way. Okay. And then we're just going to loosen up the waist before we move into some lower belly work. So hands to your knees and just do some nice slow rotations around the waist. Make sure those shoulders are nice and soft and relaxed, and allow the weight of the upper body to drop forward and guide the depth of that rotation. But as you're rotating, focus on the lower back, on the hips, and on the lower belly, and feel the movements and how you can create space here by moving around. Keep up with that breathing and move at your own pace here, whatever feels right for you. And then going the other way. And it should feel good. Just feel that release, especially in the lower back. Remember, that's where we're focusing today, is on that lower back tension. And the whole sort of torso area where you're feeling all the compression and the growth and the changes. Coming back up to neutral, and just a little baby twist, okay? Nothing too deep. We're going to take those hands out in front of you. Hello. Draw the shoulders back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, make sure your spine is nice and straight, and with a big breath in, stretch out, lengthen through the spine. When you exhale, just take one hand out to the side, taking the head with it. Inhale back to the center, following the gaze of your hand. Inhale, open up to the side, exhale back to center. Inhale, opening out to the side. Allow the chest and belly to expand. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, opening out to the side. And when you're opening out, it's just your upper body that's moving. So feel the sideways stretching and opening. Keep that spine nice and straight. And with the inhale, really concentrate on filling the chest and the belly with a very big in-breath. And that arm that's stretched out in front of you is just being, it's like your guiding light, okay? Keeping you centered, keeping you grounded. Opening out as much as you can to the side. And like I say, working at your own pace. Exhale to center. One more to each side. Last one. And back to center. Release. And we're going to take the legs out nice and wide to the front. And when you do, make sure that those toes are flexed. So if you've got little strings on your toes, imagine pulling them towards you and keep your feet flexed at all times. Take them as wide as what feels good for you. You can feel a little bit of a stretch here, and that's okay. And then make sure that your buttocks are separated, back is nice and straight, and we can stretch up, and we're focusing on opening and stretching through the groin and releasing at the lower back, okay? So if you put one hand on your belly and one hand on the lower back, keeping the back nice and straight, take a nice deep breath in and just lean yourself forward, feeling yourself coming towards the ground without lowering or bending, okay? So inhale, keep that back nice and straight. Exhale as far forward as what you feel until you feel a good like little stretch there. Inhale back. So it's just a little gentle rocking movement. We're just warming up into that stretch. As you drop forward, you're going to feel the stretch in the inner thigh extend. Go to the point that feels good for you. And remember, this is the movement that you want to do when you are doing a forward bend, making sure that you keep the spine nice and straight. Okay, so if we bring our arms into it now, I'm going to reach the arms up. Exhale as far forward as I can. Drop the hands to the floor. Draw those shoulders back nicely. Draw the toes back. And now I'm going to use my breath to walk forward as far as I can without rounding the back. So keeping the back nice and straight. Big breath in. Exhale. Nice release. Nice big breath in. Exhale, walk it forward a little bit. Nice release. Adjust the body if you need to. 3 more breaths. Another one. And doesn't matter how far forward you go. The goal is not to touch your forehead to the ground. It's to release tension in the hips and the lower back, okay? Last breath. When you get here, you can just hang out for a few moments. Maybe drop the hands to the floor. Just release a little bit, rocking from side to side. Notice how that feels. And you're going to walk the hands around, one hand on either side of the legs, twisting your upper body so it's kind of facing out over your leg. And we'll do the same thing. So I've come back a little bit to allow my back to be nice and straight. Draw those shoulders back. Work with the breath. Big breath in, gentle exhale, allowing my body to fall forward, keeping the back straight. Big breath in, allowing myself to fall forward, using the breath to release. So what you're doing here really is learning to use your breath to release and noticing how much your breath allows you to expand and stretch and move. It's about using your breath almost to move beyond the limits of your own mind. Okay, I'm at the point where it feels good for me. Do a little bit of a roll here. Feel good into that, stretch into it. And then walk the hands around, one on either side of this leg. Bring myself back, adjust my body, looking out over that foot. Remember, you've got to keep those feet up nice and flexed. Big breath in, allow the body to fall forward, keeping the back straight, drawing the shoulders back. Notice where you feel it. Notice where you feel the release, where you feel any tension. And you're aiming for 5 breaths on each side. Hang out here for a moment. Roll the shoulders around a little bit, see what feels good. Walk it back. And now I'm going to bring the one leg in and put my elbow to the inside of my knee. My hands are flexed, okay? Other hand is going behind me and pushing down into the ground to really straighten up through my spine. Bring those toes, keep the foot flexed, leg nice and straight, and create a little bit of a resistance here. So almost try and push the knee away and give yourself some resistance to help you lengthen through the spine. Big breath in as you lengthen. Open out through the shoulders. As you exhale, just gently turn the head to look behind you. And at the same time, push into that knee a little bit, giving yourself a bit of resistance. Make sure that the toe of the left foot or the straight leg are nice and flexed. And use every breath to deepen that beautiful little gentle twists. Just twisting as much as what feels good for you. Finding your level of comfort, but feeling it. Feeling a stretch, feeling a release. And being guided by your breath. Looking out over the back shoulder. Keeping the fingers of the hand flexed. Last breath. And on the exhale, gently come back to center. And change legs. So other leg goes out. Bring the other hand in. Hand behind me. Using the elbow against the knee for resistance. Push down, lengthen. In breath, exhale. Turn, look out over the back shoulder. Keep drawing that back shoulder back. And using my breath. And the way you will feel this one is in the lower back, along the spine. Maybe a little bit in that leg that you're resisting with. Maybe a little bit in the neck. The shoulders. Keep adjusting. Make sure that the foot is flexed. Last one. Big breath in. And release on the exhale. Coming back to center. You should already be feeling quite a lot of openness in the torso, the shoulders and the hips. Going to extend that a little bit by coming forward onto your hands and knees. And I'm going to go sideways. Whoops, hi. Sideways so that you can really see what I'm doing. And what you want to focus on here is making sure that your back is not too arched and not too rounded. Start off with your back in neutral position. Check your positioning so that your wrists are under the shoulders, knees under the hips, and you're forming a tabletop. Okay? When I breathe in, I don't want to arch too much because there's already the weight of your belly pulling your back down and creating an extra tension in this area. So the focus for the in-breath is to keep it neutral. It can have a slight little arch, but rather focus on looking up. When you breathe out, you want to bring the chin to the chest, and at the same time you're drawing the pelvis in, pushing down and rounding the upper back. Inhale back to your neutral, looking up, and exhale, rounding, curling the pelvis in and squeezing the pelvic floor. Now just keep doing this and finding your own pace that feels good for you, and really get your whole body moving in this, okay? It's such a simple movement, but it will give you such a good stretch and release in the spine. And surprisingly, it also stimulates your thyroid, which is all related to hormones, so it's balancing things out. You're also doing a little bit of pelvic floor work. Every time you round, you are curling the pelvis in, squeezing the pelvic floor, contracting. So make sure that with every movement, you are focusing on every part of your body that is being affected by this pose. Nice dynamic movements, working with the breath. Inhaling, looking up. Exhaling, rounding. And if your back does arch a little bit, I mean, I can go really deep, but if your back does arch a little bit, that's okay, as long as it feels comfortable. But the most important one is that round, that making that upper back really high. So when you're inhaling, you're arching, stretching, exhaling, rounding. Chin to chest, curl the pelvis and squeeze the pelvic floor. And this alone is going to provide quite a bit of relief. We're going to add something into that. So come back to neutral. I'm going to turn to the front so that you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm still on my hands and my knees, but I'm taking one foot out to the side, and it's a comfortable, my foot's at a little bit of an angle. It feels really comfortable. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop down so that I'm opening up this area here. And as I drop down, I want to look out over the opposite shoulder. So feel a good stretch there with in-breath. When I exhale, I'm turning the head and straightening this leg, dropping away. So find a nice dynamic movement. And drop as deep as what feels good for you, but get into the dynamic movements of this, just rocking from side to side and working with the breath. Most of where you're going to feel it will be in the upper thigh, the groin area. Obviously, if anything feels uncomfortable or too stretchy, don't go too deep, but always work with what you're feeling, how your body feels. Last one. And then you come back to your neutral position. You can move your hands forward a little bit and just do some rotations. So allow your hips to move and make big circles going out to the side and just loosening everything up. You can change direction. See, it's very slow and stretchy, but incredibly effective because you really are working the stuff where you're feeling the tension. Right, come back to center. I'm going to do the other side, so taking the other foot out to the side. Check the position of that foot at a bit of an angle. Bring the hands forward a little bit. Start off by dropping away towards that knee, looking out over the opposite shoulder. Exhaling. So nice deep side to side movement. You might notice that one side feels different or easier or more tense than the other. Just be mindful of it. Stay with the breath. And back to center. Move those hands forward a little bit and rotate to release. For me, this side feels really good when I rotate. There's no tension there at all. And only because it feels, you know what I mean? It didn't feel like there was tension on the other side, but when I compare the two, this side feels a whole lot easier. Change direction. And then back to center. And because you've worked both sides and really opened up the hips, you want to end that short practice off. We're not ending the practice completely, but take a moment to go into a wide leg child's pose. So ankles together, knees really, really wide, belly's resting between the thighs, and allow yourself to come forward as deep as what feels good for you. Forehead to the ground, shoulders nice and relaxed. You can take those hands behind you, whatever feels good for you. And take a moment here. So speak, I don't want to speak into that. Take a moment here to really allow those hips to drop down and release. So you want to spend at least 5 to 10 nice, slow, deep breaths. Just relaxing, releasing. Just feel the weight of the belly between your thighs. Once again, connect to your babies. Notice how they're responding to all this movement and rocking and being massaged in your belly as you move through these poses. Notice how they're responding to that slow, deep breathing and the increased oxygenation of the blood. Just notice how your hips are feeling, how the pelvis is feeling, how your lower back is feeling. So imagine all the space that you've created by moving into these poses. And just sending a moment in quiet gratitude and love. Once again, keep your mind focused on your body, your babies, and your practice. Don't go back to your daily activities just yet. Another 2 slow, deep breaths here. Big release breaths. And slowly bring yourself back, pushing yourself up, bringing the knees into center. Okay, and I'm pretty certain that you've done yoga before, so you know the pose downward dog. So when we go from downward dog from a all fours position, you want to curl the toes under, spread your hands apart, and really push the palms of your hand into the mat. Draw the shoulders back, and you're pushing your weight back and up, okay? So pushing back and up. Adjust the feet, adjust the hands. Big breath in, up onto the toes. Exhale down. And drop back to the knees. A little bit of a stretch. can do that 2 more times. Just little baby, not spending too long in downward dog. Just enough time to give yourself a good big body stretch. Back up. Walk the dog. So you're stretching, bending, stretching. Up on the toes. Back down. Drop the heels. Rock back and forth. Side to side. And one more time. Pushing the weight back. And dropping that head down. Stretching. Down. And back. Just gentle rocking forward, rock to side. And we're going to come to a standing pose. It's a standing position. To do some standing poses, give me 1 moment. I just need to open the window. Right, some standing poses, which I believe you can see my hands and my feet. Some standing poses. So we want to move into warrior pose. And once again, warrior pose is beautiful because it is literally the warrior pose, okay? So it's strengthening the whole body, your shoulders, your hips, your thighs, your back, everything. So be mindful of your whole body in the pose. And we're going to start off by going to my left. So I'm going to turn my left foot so that it's at right angle pointing out to the left. When I do that, my body naturally moves around. So bring that hip back and try and keep my upper body completely facing front. And then allow my weight to drop down over the foot. And the other foot is supporting my pose. I hope that you can see my feet. And draw this knee back. So when I look down, I can see my big toe rather than my whole foot. So drop that knee down so I can see my big toe. Gently draw that knee back. Once again, adjust my hips, adjust my legs, go as deep as what feels good for you. And I'm going to bring my arms into that. So I'm going to bring the arms up to shoulder height and turn my head to face out over the left. Nice soft gaze over the hands. Something going on at the beach there. Nice soft gaze over the hands and become mindful of how I feel in this pose. So first of all, I want to make sure that my hands are really stretched at full capacity, almost as if I'm pushing 2 walls away from me. Keep that spine nice and straight. Feel the way my legs are supporting me. And then I'm going to work dynamically through this. So as I inhale, I'm just inhaling, exhale down. And as you move through this, just bring some movement into it. And every time you come back to your starting position, you might find you go a little bit deeper. And it makes me use my breath. Big release, last one. Exhale, release, hold for 3 nice slow breaths. More. And then keeping everything exactly as it is, I'm just reaching down and letting my elbow rest on that knee. Draw the shoulder back, hand behind my hip. I'm going to look out over that back shoulder without collapsing into it. So keep it nice and straight. And 3 nice slow breaths here. Keep drawing that shoulder back. Release. Come back. Do the same thing on the other side. So I'm just adjusting my feet. Now it's the right foot that's at a right angle. Left foot, the heel goes slightly out. Drop my weight down. Adjust. Adjust my upper body. Arms out, shoulder height, gaze softly out over that right hand. Adjust my pose. And then moving with the breath. And exhale down. Last one. Hold it. 3 nice slow breaths here. Remember, you're adjusting constantly. Exhale, elbow to knee, hand behind, resting on the hip, shoulder back, don't collapse into it. Holding the body up. Up. And before coming back to center, I can just allow the weight to drop down, elbows in hands, head nice and loose and heavy, and do the ragdoll. Just release. Nod your head, shake it from side to side. Let it go in circles, but just completely release and let go here. You can take the hands to the floor, walk them forward and just come up onto the toes, drop down to the heels. Also, just a little gentle stretch, walk the hands back, bend the knees, take the left hand to left knee, right hand to right knee, push yourself up, and bring the hands to the hips, and we release that with some nice big circles. Keep your knees nice and soft, and circle everything. Now this is such a simple movement, but so helpful. It's just creating, once again, space. It feels good. So this is something that you can do like when you're in the kitchen, or when you take a break from work and you get up and you stand and you're not quite sure what to do. Do a few nice little circles. And just constantly change direction. But keep it nice and loose. And allow yourself to really go around and loosen up. We're going to end off with one last exercise to work the lower back and the belly, and it's about opening up. So you want to come to like a seated position, as you imaginary chair, hands to your knees, and when you breathe in, you're doing a similar thing where you are arching and looking up. When you breathe out, you are rolling and curling the pelvis in. It's called a round and roll, and I do a lot of it in lots of different positions. Really, really, really good. So we're going to do a round of that. At some stage, we're going to bring our arms into it. 1, 2, and then both. So start off with no arms, just inhaling. Exhale, round. Curl. Inhale, arch, open, reach up. Exhale, round. We're going to bring right arm into it. Inhale, round, left, and round, curl, both. Round, curl, right, left, both, right, left, both. Last one. Left and both. Take a moment there. Once again, drop. Rock from side to side, walk it out. For the relaxation, because of what you've been experiencing, I'm going to suggest that you do legs up the wall. Sit next to the wall, roll back. Hope I'm in there. And place those legs up. Arms out wide to the side. And you can take them nice and wide. Or you can do the butterfly. And if you want to, you can place a cushion underneath your buttocks. But take the arms out wide to the side. And spend at least 5 minutes here, just allowing